I'm back. I'm back with another one. And my apologies for not uploading for a while. I've had a few things to do, so I've not had the time to upload. But I'm here just to break down what happened with BTC. A lot of you know already how I mark out charts and things like that, and how I look at volume and certain areas, and how I'll take trades. And I'm mainly looking on dailies, weeklies, monthlies. So if we start on the month and have a little look at what happened here on the monthly, and we see how BTC broke down from March into April. So we're watching the monthly close, April's monthly close, and April's monthly close was very bearish. You've got the candles that are near enough the same. Normally what you'll get when you see something like this is a drop in price. So we've also got the daily levels that I've marked out, and if you look at the close, it closed slightly below. That's a sign of price is going to break down. Also, if you're using the stochastic RSI, and we have a look at previous areas of interest on the RSI, of where it's come up to that area and it broke down initially, and we got a little bounce here, but can you see on the monthly how the RSI didn't bounce all the way back up to this area? It only bounced slightly and then only just broke all-time highs again. So we've got the same sort of scenario happening at the minute. Whereas personally, I think we're going to do somewhat along these lines. That's what my personal thought is of how we're going to drop. And I was also telling people in a group that I'm in what we're going to be looking at here. So if we go from this top area and we have a look at the drop previous cycle, we got a 55% drop. We then went from that drop and increased 137%. So if we are going to play out something similar to what occurred before, and we look at the top, and if we're going to retrace 55%, there's your area of interest. So if we do drop to that area there, let's mark out that area there, and we do increase 137% from this area, that takes us to around 80k. And I know a lot of people are screaming BTC 100k, but I remember last cycle everybody was screaming BTC 100k, and we got to 69k and then dropped from 69k 77% down to 15k, and that was the local bottom. So that's just a quick analyse of BTC at the minute. So then we'll go down to the daily mark, And if we have a look at the daily, we're going to probably see some choppy action here again. A retest of 62k, another breakdown, choppiness, retest, and another breakdown. That's my personal thought. Because if we look at the initial moves that we've had on BTC since October, we've had no significant pullback, and we will generally see a significant pullback in any market. It needs to balance out before it can continue then to take off to another all-time high. That's my personal thought. But we've also got diminishing volume at the same time of this. On the weekly chart, if we have a look at the volume, look at the volume here. The volume started to flatline, and then what you'll generally get is you'll get a big spike in volume at a low, and then it will generally pump off from that area. And if you look at this volume here, this big volume here, where we were doing this little choppy action along here, you could have potentially seen that there's a lot of volume coming into this coin, and it is probably going to take off. And it did, without any significant retest, apart from this area here at 25k, 24k, around this area. We got a retest twice and a double bottom, one there, one there, and then a takeoff. From that area, we've had no significant pullback at all. We didn't even retest this area. Generally what you'll see is, with most coins, it will retest a local area of interest, and it never did. So even on the last cycle, prior cycle, we retested this area here. So personally, I'm looking at this area here, around 38k, to retest before we can then continue to push off up to around 80k. But we'll see. We'll see what occurs in it. And then I'm also looking at altcoins as well now. So I've got another chart here. Let me pull this chart over. Let me open up that chart. That's a trade I'm potentially looking at the minute on OP. The reason is we've got these moving averages. These are short-term based moving averages. So let me just take the short-term based moving averages away. We'll leave the 50 on. So let's go to BTC. Right, let's look at BTC here. So what we can see here in BTC is it's at its initial breakdown. It's played around this area, which I think that blue one is the 50 EMA, with then a bit of manipulation to push back up above it to make everybody think, yep, we're going back bullish. Liquidated a lot of people at 67,200, did its job, then came back below the 50. We've then retested the 50 once again, and then dropped again. This is on the daily time frame. So then we've also got to look at, we're looking at, I think that's the 100. Let me just have a look, because I don't know what colour I've put them in. Yep, that's the 100 moving average there, which is the SMA. If I change that SMA to an EMA, see how the SMA and the EMA there ain't really much difference, to be honest with you. But can you see how the EMA is starting to curl? Generally, this is a sign that we are going to break down further. And then if we change the 200 to an EMA, and we can see this area here, which is 52k, it literally levels up with the 52k. If we take it back down to an SMA, that lines up to around 49k. That's on the daily. We can then go to the weekly, and if you look at the weekly, and you can see how we've got all these crossing over here. You've got the 50 coming over around 27k. You had the 50 crossing over the 100. That's a certified sign of bullish momentum. Generally. You know, there's not what you can do about these here, because even when that's brought down and below there and it's crossed over, it's not come under for so long. But that's why I'll use the daily and the 4 hourly to literally look at these points of interest. Can you see how we've had this cross here? And I think a lot of people call it a death cross. If people are looking at market structure and you're getting a high, a lower high, let's go back a minute, sorry, a high, a lower high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we've had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is where it's faked a lot of people out in this area. It's this area is what I class as manipulation, to make people think, yeah, we're going back up now. We've had our pullback, now we're going back up. And I bet a lot of people longed BTC here. But if you'd have had the moving averages on, you could have looked at the moving averages, seen that the 200 moving average were there, and it rejected once, twice, 3 times off that moving average. Which then you'd have been like, well, I don't really want to take a long here, do I? Such a simple way of trading and actually having a look at market structure. If you want to have classed them as lower highs and lower lows, and you'd have just looked at this, you're going to see that. Personally, that's my opinion. Retest. That's what I'm looking at, personally, on BTC. And like I say, you can use the moving averages not as entry points, but if you see generally a big rejection off this area, which it did, big rejection, retest of the 50 here, and then another rejection. There were your short opportunities in BTC. Personally, that's how I look at it. And then, see, I won't be taking no longs right now. If we go to the daily, see how we're breaking down even more on the daily. The long opportunity on BTC were here. Then there will be another opportunity to long BTC. I'm not saying there ain't going to be another opportunity, because there will be another opportunity to long it. But you need to look at the bigger picture. Sorry, I need to have a drink. Yeah, you need to take a look at the bigger picture. And like I've said previously in a lot of my videos, history tends to repeat itself on most markets. So just keep your eye on it. Even if you've got this cross here on the daily, you're still initially getting, when you get that cross, you're getting a 50% move upwards. And if you're using the leverage, you know that you're going to make a lot of money there. After that cross there, where were we? 45k. Then it went to 69k. It's nearly 20k increase. So you know, even when you get these crosses, don't think, oh, it's just going to be a small move, because most of the time it ain't going to be a small move. And then also what I'll be doing is I'll be looking at BTC dominance as well at the same time. Let me come off this chart, let me go onto this chart, let me go onto my BTC dominance. So we're having a look at BTC dominance here on the weekly. Look at the initial trend line going down. And we've hit that area at the minute, and we've rejected off that area. What we want to see is, before we're going to be going long in these altcoins, we need to see a rejection like this before even thinking about going long in these altcoins. That's what I'd be waiting. If we get this, a bounce off of there, and it breaks back above there, altcoins are going to get absolutely smashed. So be very careful with your longs at the minute. And then we've also got the US DT dominance as well. So you've got your initial trend coming up this way. You had your initial trend going back down that way. We've now broke above that trend because people have been cashing in, because they've seen a big breakdown and thought, I need to cash in here. These are the only charts that I'll use trend lines on USDT dominance, BTC dominance, and total 3. There's your initial trend line on total 3 on the weekly. There were your initial trend line on total 3, November 21 to December 22. And then we had some sideways action. We didn't really have no movement. And then look, we've had the movement. We want to see total 3 bounce off this area. That's what we want to see. Want to see total 3 do something like this. What we don't want to see is this. That's what you're looking at in total 3. Keep an eye on that. keep an eye on BTC dominance, USDT dominance, and total 3 as well before you even enter any of these altcoins. So let's go back to this chart, what we're initially on. So, PAXG, I won't be entering that. Right, let me have a look at some of the coins that I'm probably going to be entering for the run, for the bull run, the supposedly bull run that we're in, yeah. So we've got another one here, AVAX. If we go back to AVAX and we actually have a little look at AVAX around these areas, what can we see in AVAX here? On that initial cross there, it's come back, it's retested these areas. Previous resistance here, turned into support. Big push up, back down. And we've not had a test of this area as a support yet. That's what I'll be looking at. I want to see that area get tested. And we've also got the 50, the 100 and the 200 all initially coming over. That's what you want to see. You want to see that start to break down like this. This coming back up. This crossing under. Bit similar to what it's done here. Crossing under. That's what you want to see. That crossing under going like that. That then coming back up above it like that. And then this doing the same. You get your crossover around this area, around $36. You're going long. That's what I'll be looking at. And if we break 65 from this initial long round here, it's an 87% increase. That's a good enough profit take. And if we even go further with this alt rally, because we will have one, and we get to $98, so 154% increase. So I'll be waiting for these areas. Wait for your moving averages to cross over. That's initially what I'm trying to say to you all. Wait for these moving averages to cross over. Right, I've also got a few questions that people wanted me to answer. Let me have a little look. Right, so I've already gone through the confirmations of what I'll be looking at and when I'll be taking trades. Like I say, I like long-term trades to get the most out of a coin, generally. What signals and reversal alerts, I do use them every now and again, but I don't really rely on them. I rely on my own chart knowledge to take these trades. I don't just look at, you know, certain reversal alerts and things like that. I might look at the reversal alert or the signal, have a look to see if it then lines up with my way of trading. If it does, I will take the trade. If it doesn't, I'm not taking the trade. Whereas a lot of people will just take the trade, and I know they will, because I've seen it over and over again. Then we've got indicators I've already been through the indicators. I don't really like to use the indicators. I'll generally be looking at volume. I'll use the stock on the weekly to have a look where it is on the weekly. And then I'll look at the daily. If it aligns, if this comes down here and does that, we're already at the weekly. If we do something like that, then yeah, I'll use the stock and I'll think, yeah, this potentially is a good area to go long or go short. And then, what were the other one? That's it. I think I've gone through most things, what people wanted me to look at. BTC, I've already gone over that. How I look at it. I know there's a lot of people out there that are scalpers. And I'm not saying I don't scalp, because I do. I do scalp every now and again. But personally, I prefer to take longer term trades, because then I can walk out my door and not worry about that trade. If it hits my stop loss, it hits my stop loss. So be it. That's part of trading. You're not going to win every trade. And that's what people need to realise. You're not going to win every single trade. So let's get back to some coins, OP. On the daily, I'm expecting a rejection off this area here on OP. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's what I'm expecting. Also, I want to talk about leverage, and I've shown you a little trick with leverage, and I've shown you how I use leverage. And I've also been observing a lot of people and how they're using leverage to try and take advantage, and then flashing the gains, but not really showing you the big losses. Don't get me wrong, there's a few people in this group that have got the balls to show the losses, and they own up to the losses. But when somebody calls out a coin in the group, then don't, like, oh, that could be me. That could be me. I should have been that guy. No, and this is where you're going to go wrong, and this is where it's going to hurt you. This is where it's going to hurt you really badly. So, think about your leverage. Don't just, enter leverage like that with no cares in the world, And like I say, we were having a chat this morning in the group, and see, I think with me, and I was telling these guys, I'm a realist. I'm the sort of guy that is, let's look at the reality of it. Let's look at the gains that you had. When you're losing $5,000 in a trade, or you're losing $5 in a trade, yeah, $5 isn't a lot. And if you want to use times 200, use times 200. But personally, I won't be using times 200. I've been through too much shit in my life to worry about if it's times 200 or times 5. Excuse me. And it really annoys me when people are showing these gains, and then it makes other people think, oh, that could be me, that could be me. No, worry about you. Just worry about you. Don't worry about them. And like I said, I've been through a lot in my life. I lost 2 children. 2 children passed away. One at 3 days old, one at 6 weeks old. I lost my dad to cancer 6 years ago. And I also lost my sister 2 years ago to she had a routine operation, and a stem in her brain died, and she never pulled through, which then she left a little son behind, and I've took him under my wing and tried to help him out the best he can, the best I can. But I've also got three of my own children and 2 stepchildren. I've also got my mother, who's got heart problems, and I'm looking after her at the same time. But my son's got autism. My stepson, he's got ADHD, and even though I've got all this on my shoulders, and I spoke about this in chat earlier on today, I don't let it define who I am. I make me into a better man, and then I go do charity work as well, and I work for a local community centre. I work for the food bank. All this is voluntary work. I also do football coaching as well. I coach kids, and it's all voluntary work. I also do a charity event each year for Marie Curie cancer. One of my best friends, he's got Crohn's disease, and he's getting better, but at one point he were in hospital and he were ill. But like I said, I don't let all this define me, who I am. It's made me a stronger man, and I just want people to realise there's more to life than P&L. And when you realise that, you'll then understand why I'm so real with things, and why I don't let little things niggle at me. I just hope people, will look at the way I trade and have a look at certain areas and realise that, this is not going to make or break you. There's more important things in life than worrying about little things like this. So yeah, that's just something I want to close on. And think about, you're happy, are you healthy? Then this little bit of money eventually can help you in the long run, but it's not going to define who you are. Because I could be broke and still be the same guy than what I was previously. I'm still the same person deep inside, but I've got a bit of money. But it don't make who I am, that money. So just have a little think about that. So if you want to take a look at these coins, like I was saying, have a little look, see what you think, and then go from there. But don't just ape into certain coins. Have a look at the coins and then take your trades. So I'm going to close on that, and I will catch you all in the next one.